I'll burn the pancakes and probably the house too, but baby, it's stuck to me like glue.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Reflections of Evelyn. I just want to say thank you if this is your first time coming in. And if you've already been listening, I really, really appreciate your support. Numbers are slowly starting to climb. I have, I don't know, data online is so silly. It says 200 people are listening and also maybe 5 and maybe 30 and maybe 13. I'm really just starting to realize that, you can't just go off of data or statistics or what Google says because oftentimes they are wrong about certain things. I don't know if really anybody knows anything outside of their own life experience, Like I know there's some people that, it's their job to get to know people and analyze people's lives and try to figure out what people are struggling with. Like, I'm thinking of therapists, for instance. And so, yeah, in theory, they know what people are worried about, complaining about, and so on. But it's funny because everybody has a different kind of life. And this is going to be a little bit of an unconventional episode. So I hope you're down for the cause. This episode is a little bit more of, I don't want to say a gratitude episode. It's more of a love episode that I want to send to you. I really don't want to believe that the world is that close-minded, that society and culture of the specific one that you live in is the one that dictates how life works. If you move to another state, another city, another continent, another country, would life be different or would it kind of be the same for you? Maybe it depends how long you're there. Maybe it depends on where you go. I'm not quite sure. But one thing I'm noticing is, there's a lot of people that think black and white, and there's a lot of people that think the same. And I think thinking the same can get kind of discouraging. I know there's this line item for psychiatrists when they, try to figure out if someone's having a psychosis. It's, what's the word they use? If they have grandiose theories. So basically, if you're dreaming too big or you have too much of a, erratic thought that something is going on in your life, something that seems out of the norm, you could be having a psychotic episode. Obviously, there are 10 other line items that they can go down to decipher whether or not that's true or not. Also, maybe they should do that and not just go off of one or two. They'd be a bad psychiatrist. But I do think it's interesting that, depending on your life, what's a struggle for one person might not be someone else's struggle. And I think it's hard to find people that you can relate to sometimes. And I just want to send a message to love, a message of love to anybody that is hearing this particular episode. I'm not going to lie to you. It's been a pretty dark time for a while. And I was a little frustrated because I'm like, well, you have to post something engaging every single week. You've got to be consistent no matter what. And then I'm in my head thinking I got to pay my editor for something that, I'm not super excited about, but this one's going to be a dud, whatever. And we talked about a previous episode that, whoever is supposed to get what they're supposed to get out of it will. And that's truly the most important part of all of this. I could think something is incredible and you guys are like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I could think something is the stupidest thing I've ever heard and you think it's incredible. So I don't want to say anything, really. I post on social media once a week, or when I publish, I let people know that a new episode is out. And then I go into my apps and I click delete and then I put it away for a week until it's time to publish again. I keep my Facebook up and going because that's how I sell things for free on Facebook Marketplace. I'm very grateful for that to be an option when I'm able to sell some things around my house for some gas money or whatever. But I've been in a rut lately, and it's kind of a cool and interesting place to be in. I'll admit that I've never gone through this type of feeling before. It's different. And this feeling of different, it's not good. It's not bad. It's different. It's not bad because I don't look at this as a negative, but I also don't necessarily know if there's a lesson or like growth that will come out of this feeling. I think when people say everything happens to you for a reason, it's like I almost want to stay away from mantras and tropes for a while because I don't know if that's true. I don't know if everything happens for a reason because if you don't get to know the reason, then what's the point? you know? Plus, I don't think everybody has the same type of background or story, So, like when people say history repeats itself or you're going to keep bumping into the same problems until you learn, I don't think that's true in my life necessarily. I really don't. I honestly just wanted to talk to you. Yeah, I know it sounds like a little uneasy being, like being vulnerable to you like this, but there's this like thing I read online where it said like, oh, if you're talking too much, you're not analyzing and thinking, and smart people don't talk. They think and they analyze. And I'm just like, man, I'm so sick of all this bullshit. Say that to every single podcaster, person who cares to talk. I think the one thing that I am finding a little bit uneasy about podcasting is like something that I'm noticing, like I am getting like a lot of views, but I don't have one like, I don't have one share. I don't have one comment. I have no engagement. And it's been frustrating to me a little bit because I think the whole point of this for me was to create an atmosphere or an environment where people like wanted to hear what I had to say, engage with other people, share their comments and feedback. Hopefully it would have been relatable. And I find it fascinating that I'm getting a lot of views, especially on social media. It seems to be that people are going to my podcast and the first thing they want to know is, what does she look like? What kind of job does she have? Does she have a boyfriend? Whatever the fuck reasons why people go on social media. But instead of engaging with my podcast, they're going straight to my Instagram. And so my Instagram account has several thousand views on it. And I was like, wow, several thousand people are looking at my Instagram, but I can't get one comment or one like or one download. Save my bacon. And it's not about monetizing for me anymore. I really wanted this to be a business in a dream world. If dream worlds can exist for all people or some people, I would love to be able to do this as a business, as so many people do. Be at home with my cat, save money on gas, save money on wear and tear of my car, and be around people less, if I'm being honest. I just find it interesting that like nobody is engaging. People are watching, people are listening, but nobody has anything to say. Maybe to their friends, maybe to their family, but not to me. And it's gotten to kind of an eerie place where I'm like, okay, I have several thousand views and people are listening, but how come nobody has anything to say or to share or a thumbs up or anything, even like a critique or a comment or feedback? It just seemed bizarre to me. I want to know what that kind of data looks like why that's a thing. And I thought maybe a couple different things were going on. I don't know if a lot of people feel like they can say how they truly feel. Like if someone comes up to you and they're being cordial and they say, hey, how's it going today? I feel like the automatic response is good, you, or hanging in there, it's all good. Like, what about you? And I feel like you're obligated or forced to say to the person, I'm good, and keep things positive. Not be a downer. Like, I guess it's a good thing to like not be a downer and, project how you feel onto other people. But I do wish there was a space where people didn't have to feel like they couldn't be vulnerable. Obviously, if people take advantage of that and all they do is gripe and criticize and they have a negative opinion about everything, like, yeah, there's that kind of person and you know who those people are in your life. But, my cat is unwell and I worked Coachella Festival a couple weeks ago. Really had an absolutely miserable time. It was very uncomfortable. In the back of my car, I didn't really have a lot of room. The food made me sick. I wasn't able to go to the bathroom for like 2 days. I just went to make up extra money because my full-time job has been pretty slow. And I would rather overwork and not have a life than watch my bank account go down. But my cat, I took him over to my aunt and grandma's place to save some money and have them, watch him for a couple days while I made some extra cash. And unfortunately, my family can't really take care of themselves. It's gotten to this point. So they certainly can't really take care of my cat. And I brought my cat back and, well, essentially, my family member's cat was not very well taken care of and unfortunately got my cat sick. And now everything that I worked at Coachella is now going towards a vet bill that I am very much not excited about on Saturday. And I can only hope that it will be minor and that after a couple shots and some antibiotics and some extreme trauma for my cat to go through, that he'll be fine. I could just pray that he doesn't need blood work or x-rays and we find out it's something much larger. But it's been tough for me because, I've been telling my cat, Sebastian, that he is why I'm alive. He is why I keep going. And I'm grateful for my cat. And I'm not ready for anything to happen to my cat. He's my everything. And I think there's kind of a stigma where if you tell somebody how you truly feel, or you share a moment of vulnerability, that you feel like maybe, I don't want to use the word rejection because I know that's not what I feel. It's just a feeling of not being able to connect in the way that you hope you could with somebody. If anybody came up to me and said, Evelyn, I'm really fucking struggling. Can you be there for me? Can I talk things out with you? Can we problem solve? Can you help me figure out a solution? Or can I just rant? Can you just hear what I have to say? I would be honored by that because they're expressing passion and vulnerability and emotion. And they would show that they cared, And I think I have a lot of people in my life that just put on a face and get through life by themselves. And that's how they want it. I mean, they know that, I would be there for them, but they just kind of want to deal with it on their own, I guess. I'm just not that way. I just don't operate that way. And I notice that day in, day out, I have my therapist, which really it's like I just pay her just to listen, just so that I have someone to hear me talk, and my cat. And, there's some things about life that I haven't really been able to understand lately, which is in two different examples, similar, I guess. Why would people listening to this podcast not provide comments, no feedback, no shares? Because it's not about the money. It's not about monetizing. It's not about views. But why am I getting the views, but I'm not getting people interacting or sharing feedback? And maybe they just don't want to. But I know if I'm listening to something, I'm liking it so that I remember that I watched it or that it's saved. Or when I'm trying to look for something, it's like there to be supportive of the person who put it on. But to have views, but nobody's saying anything is, I don't know, it's weird to me. It's like weird that it's almost like people don't feel like they can voice their opinion anymore. I mean, I guess you can go on YouTube or Instagram and you see all these people with comments, but that's more like trolls, I feel like. It's not really so much like engaged people. I got this person in my past life who listened to hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of audio messages from me, read paragraphs and short novels of messages that I've sent to them, saw it, heard it, played it, and didn't have one word to say, not even one word. And I try to understand. I get that people are different from each other, but how different are we? I might not know the right thing to say. And like today, I was helping my family and I kept trying to rehearse what I was going to say over there because I really felt the expression, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. And so I wanted to just like not say anything, just go there, grab their mail, take out their trash, drop off their gifts and leave. That's all I wanted to do. And we'll give them a hug and a kiss, say, I love you. I hope you have a great day. Leave. I couldn't do any talking. I don't want to go back there for a while. But I don't really get that luxury because my family is sick. And it's like technically every moment is precious. I just wish these weren't like the last memories that I was going to be having of them, I guess. But I don't understand if someone shares something with you, why it doesn't penetrate you, why there's no comment, why you don't want to say anything. And I'm sure it's a different reason for everything. Like if you have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. Or I didn't know what to say, so I said nothing. You know, those are two approaches. And I guess because you don't, you're not mind readers, so you don't know what the other person needs or wants from it. But I don't know, it's just like, it's odd to me. Like, how could something not impact you? How could something not change you and make you vulnerable? How many people have been so badly hurt that not only do they not care about themselves, but you would be asking a lot for them to care about other people or give a damn. There's this guy at my job. I guess I'm not the only person who has made this comment, but several people at work say, Evelyn, it's not personal. We've had several people within the company say the same thing you are, and this person doesn't care. It's about money for them. It's about making the company look good. They don't care about the drivers. They don't care about you. And when I call this particular person, because he's the sole reason why I have work, his idea of going through life is, okay, you got what you want, click, hang up the phone. And at my job, there's like this culture where like, okay, I helped you, click, hang up the phone. Or, oh, like, can't you do it yourself? Like, I know it's your job, but like, I don't want to, click. Or there's my favorite is you call them, they don't answer. You call them, they don't answer. You call them, you leave a voicemail, they don't answer. And you just never hear from them again. And then you have clients I had a client today who was like, I don't understand. I was supposed to meet you outside because you need a special escort to get into this building. It doesn't matter how many times I tell your company that. Why aren't they putting that in the notes? Like, I don't even know how you got here. I said, well, I had to be escorted and that was not in the notes. And he's like, he was mad. Like he was a paying client. He was like, how many times do I have to tell your company what's up and to put my number in? And I said, I'm just starting to find out, sir, that they don't care. And I can't really tell you what that means because I'm someone who cares too much about everything. And it's exhausting and it's incredibly painful because I'm surrounded by people who don't care about pretty much anything in life. And it's frustrating to me. I don't ever want to be somebody who doesn't care. But how can I be someone that hangs up the phone on you? How can I be someone that cares more about money and views than someone's soul? I think the idea of psychics was really cute for a while until I was like, how could anyone dare charge money to talk to a psychic? You're talking to somebody about something that's extremely vulnerable and you want to monetize off of their vulnerability, off of their pain, off of their questions, off of their curiosity. Why wouldn't someone out of their kindness of their heart be like, you know what? I kind of have a message I want to say to you right now that I feel like is on my heart. Like, would you mind if I share it with you? You're going to tell me that someone's energy is zapped, or my therapist says that I need to monetize off of my gift because otherwise it hurts me. It just, I can't. I've been very frustrated lately, caring too much about anything and everyone, I guess. Giving a damn, trying when life is really, really tough. And I don't know if life's always been this way. It probably has. So maybe I just need to find a different approach or outlook. But I feel like it is so rare to find human connection. And I was just telling an old high school buddy that I reconnected with this. I wish more people told you when you were young that meaningful connections are rare, that finding kind humans is rare, that meaningful relationships and connections and sharing vulnerable moments and creating happy memories is rare. And you could go several weeks, several months, several years without ever being touched or loved or sharing an intimate moment with somebody. And I wish I knew that. I think when I was young, as a lot of young people do, you think the world is your oyster, anything is possible. You have all this life and zest. And so I think a lot of people gravitate towards you because they love believing in something pure and beautiful. And like so many of us, life kind of gets you down after a while. You know, I tell my family all the time, I would love to be a mom. I would love to be a mom so much, but I'm not a millionaire. And I think it would be irresponsible to raise a child if I was not a millionaire in this day and age, between finding the right zip code or private school to be able to afford a decent education, to be able to afford college or their first car, to be able to take them to sports and dance recitals and all the activities that, you know, you don't really get to do that often when you're an adult or afford to or have the time to. And I'm kind of going on a tangent right now, but I celebrated my mom's birthday the other day. And my mom is somebody that pretty much most of my life, she loved me, but I had some pretty big issues that I couldn't figure out. And I had to say a lot of prayers and a lot of screaming to the universe, going like, why can't I make things better with my mom? I couldn't. I could not connect with her. I couldn't click with her. We were always fighting. It was always a problem. And I would only say in the 34 years I've been alive, I've only really had a relationship with my mom, I would say like a healthy one, in the last like few months. And I'm very interested why it took almost 70 years of my mom's life and 34 years of my life for this to finally happen, why it had to take so long. But my mom used to be on Xanax to sleep. The doctor just stopped giving it to her and wouldn't let her have it anymore for her insomnia. And so now nothing cures her insomnia. She can't really sleep ever at all. She doesn't get good sleep. It's wild to me to think that someone doesn't go to bed until 8 o'clock in the morning and then maybe wakes up around 2 in the afternoon. And that's like all the sleep they get. And I feel for her. And so we were at Red Lobster celebrating her birthday, and she was down. She was quiet. She wasn't manic. She wasn't bubbly. She wasn't over the top, and she wasn't being obnoxious. And I looked at her, and I had a nice time with her and my dad. But the whole time at dinner, I kept thinking, you know, I didn't like it when she was manic. I didn't like it when she was like what seemed to be out of control and like super hyper crazy, like bouncing off of walls, like very intense. You didn't know what you were going to get with her. But it's not fair for me to care how she was, because if she was happy and if she was herself, that's really all that mattered. And finding out that, you know, she can't get on medication that she needs now, and that there's no doctors that are helping her, and that she is so tired and so, what's the word? Not given up, but doesn't feel like it should be so hard to get the help that she needs. And she's like, well, if I went to 1 or 2 doctors and they can't, you know, give me Xanax, which is what works, and it was too addicting and too difficult to get off, like I'm not going to go on it again. Therefore, there are no other sleep options for her. And I see this woman who's, my God, I mean, she annoyed the fuck out of me my whole life. I hate saying that. I'm a horrible human being for saying that. But watching her be, quote, normal. And she was tired. And she was kind of like, you know, she said she was sad because my grandma is on her way out. And she said she was sad to see her mom go out in the way that she is. And it is hard on the family right now. We're going through a big shift with the family of who we have left. And I just had this feeling of looking at my mom and thinking, it doesn't matter what I think of her or how I want her to be. All I want is her happiness. All I want is for her to be happy and fulfilled inside of her own skin. And she wasn't, and it broke my heart. It made me fucking sad. And it was this weird disparity, this weird feeling where I was like, if I'm uncomfortable to be around her when she's her happiest self, but she's happy, then if that's what needs to happen, that's what needs to happen, because seeing her like this it's hard. It's weird to see my mom mellowed out. It seems more healthy, but then I also feel like I'm seeing a woman who has her soul sucked out of her, and it's sad. It's really sad. That's been hard to go through lately, but ironically, this is the first time my mom and I have been able to kind of have a relationship. So I'm hearing like weird knocking outside my door. That's very bizarre. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, I don't know. I'm maybe something I can learn about in therapy, although I just haven't been in a place where I've been wanting to do it lately. There's members of my family that go to the doctor and say, you're too old or you're too broken, essentially. You've had too many heart attacks and you're too old. There's nothing we can do to help you. Yes, the answer is you will be in chronic pain for the rest of your life, for the last 20 years and the rest of your life. There's nothing we can do. Sorry, have a great day. And I'm like telling, my family's telling me this. And I'm like, what do you mean? They're saying you're old. Therefore, they won't give you medication. They won't help you. There's nothing they can do. Like, you're telling me that you're going to the doctors and they're saying, sorry, you're old, or sorry, you've had too many heart attacks. We can't help you. Bye. Like, is that our healthcare system? Is that what's happening? That's truly horrible. But I also see that when I went to the gynecologist the other day, the only available appointment was with this man. And I was like, well, I don't care. Like, I've been fucked up by a male doctor before. Like, what's another one? It's not really like a problem for me. Been there, done that. Like, if I could get an appointment, maybe this one won't be so bad. Well, then I finally realized like why there was an opening, because this guy was horrible. I had a list of questions and I was all excited to nerd out. And I said, hey, like, I brought some questions. Like, I'm probably not going to see you for a year. I'd like to know of like what I can tell partners and what I can do for myself to make myself healthier. And I was very excited. And he cut me off in the middle of my questions and he started walking out the door. And I was like, wait, I'm sorry. I'm talking. Like, can we go over my health? And he's like, oh, you have more? And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm in the middle of a sentence. What do you mean? Do I have more? Guy wasn't listening at all. And I'm thinking to myself, well, if I have to get a surgery, then probably don't want that guy to be working on me, because, my body is like pretty important to me and I don't want him fucking it up. So thank you. And so when I hear things like that, it's like, I don't want to think all of healthcare is shit, or I can't have a baby because I'm not a millionaire, or because people don't date anymore. People don't believe in family dynamics. It's such a horrible headspace to be in. And that's just where I've been for a while. It's very common when somebody has loved you and you had a pretty strong relationship with someone for a long time and you guys break up and you never hear from them again. And they either block you or they ghost you or, give you like a one sentence goodbye and that sums up your life. And that's pretty common for a lot of people, I feel like, to have that happen. And I wish life didn't have to be like everybody else. I wish people did get the closure that they wanted, that people could have kids, that people can go to the doctors and get really good help from doctors because that doctor like gave a shit about their job and were human. And I'm not trying to generalize. I'm just saying, I think it's interesting that there's talk to any American, especially, I don't know if it's just like a SoCal thing or a big city thing. I'm sure if you were to go into like the mountain, I can't even say that's true, but maybe if you go to the mountains or a small town, there's more of a community feel. But, I was on a hike. I was on a hike yesterday. I went to Bridge to Nowhere. And for the first time in my hiking journey on my own, I got injured. I injured myself, bad, Evelyn. And I was going down some rocks wrong or quickly, whatever. My foot slipped. I twisted my ankle and I landed on it wrong. And it was excruciating. I don't know. I was like, Evelyn, you've twisted your foot before. Why are you being such a fucking baby? But it was so bad that I had to sit down for a moment because I needed to figure out, do I need to stretch it? Do I need to roll it? Do I need to twist it? What do I do? Because I have several more miles of this hike and I'm alone and I got to get to my car. So what am I going to do? I was right in the middle of like a pathway where you had to go down and basically like I would have to move in order for more people to pass me. And so I had just fallen and I was wincing and there was nobody around me at the time. And so, I was like, ow, 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 ow. And I was just kind of like talking to myself, self-soothing, trying to like tell myself it was going to be okay and try to figure out what I could do. All of a sudden I sensed a presence behind me. And there was a guy that was just glaring at me. And he gave me this glare like, are you going to move, bitch? And I'm like rocking and trying to like hold my ankle and I was like hurting. And I looked at him and I said like, I'm so sorry. Let me try to get out of your way. So I crawled over to the side and then was upset because, I was trying to like figure out what was going on with my leg. And this guy kind of like huffs under his breath and walks right past me, doesn't even like look back. And then he was with his girlfriend and his girlfriend did the same thing. And I thought to myself, well, no, let me not miss the best part of the story. Then I start bawling my eyes out. Not because I was in so much pain, but I was bawling my eyes out at the lack of humanity that this guy saw me fell. I was in his way and he had one thought in his brain, which is this bitch is on the floor. She's in my way. I can't walk past her. I have somewhere I want to be right now. And I started bawling because I think there was probably something bigger going on in my head for me to be bawling out there in the middle of the woods. But my thought was, I had a couple thoughts. One, wow, this girlfriend has really a winner of a boyfriend and she must be feeling really great about herself in this relationship. And then I thought about him and I was thinking like, wow, like obviously, when my family's like, oh, you need to go on hikes to meet like-minded people. And, that's where you'll find your dream man. And you just need to go to more hiking clubs and socialize with people. And I try to tell them all the time, just because you're a hiker doesn't mean you're a good person. There's people that are filthy animals. They trash and graffiti the place. They are loud. They bring their boom boxes. Very disrespectful. And like yesterday, there's a fucking guy that was glaring at me when he saw that I was struggling. And instead of saying, are you okay? Do you want me to make a call? Can I help you? Take your time. He glared at me, made sure to know that I was a horrible human being for in his way, and just walked right past me. And then while I was bawling my eyes out, my thought was, wow, this is like cars with homeless people every day. Or like, what are we supposed to do? Like, do you cash out $100 every day in your ATM and convert them all into $1? And every time you see a homeless person, give $1 to them, or pack 50 sandwiches a day and give one out to every single homeless person, and then do that every day or every couple days or every week, because that's how much of a problem it is here. Actually, I did offer my lunch to a homeless person today, and he ran over to my car to grab it. And he said, "What the fuck is this?" I said, it's a salad. Would you like my lunch?" He said, "Fuck you. I haven't showered in 5 months. You can't spare a goddamn cent so that I can go take a shower." And I said, "I'm so sorry. I don't have any money on me, but does that mean you don't want my salad?" And he said, "Fuck you." And he flipped me off. And I said, "I'm so sorry." And I drove away. Obviously, I was very upset by that. But obviously, I have to take that with a grain of salt, too, because he was struggling with something much larger. But that is not the first time a homeless person cussed at me for wanting to give them food. One time, I offered some sandwiches to this woman, and she was like, "Are they vegan?" And I said, "No, I'm so sorry, they're not." And she threw it back at my face and she said, "Then I don't want it." I think our homeless people are a lot different. Anyways, it depends on where you go, and not everybody's the same. But my tangent is, I broke down last night. at the lack of humanity. I could not believe that someone, I couldn't conceive of it. I could never be this person. If I saw somebody down on the ground and it was obvious that they had just been injured, I would not just walk past them and give them a glare of like, hey, fuck you, you're in my way. I could never fucking do that. Fucking ever. I could never fucking do that. I could not go to my job every day and hang up on the phone with your drivers because, oh, there's 50 drivers. And so I'm going to cut you off because you got what you need. And I'm just going to hang up the phone. And no, I don't care if you're nowhere near this job. You're going to go wherever I tell you to. And you're going to just have to take it in the ass. I just can't be that person. I really can't be that person. And I think as I see my family aging and I see people changing, it's tough. A lot of us are not getting our needs met. A lot of us are struggling. And we look at strangers sometimes, depending on our mood or our headspaces, and you wonder if anybody gives a damn at all. You wonder if you could be vulnerable. You wonder if you could be hurt. You wonder if something could be wrong with you because you don't know how someone else is going to treat you. And I think it's fucking sad. Honestly, it's really fucking sad. It's not about rejection. It's just more like I've been saying lately, I criticize people who criticize me. And it's not because I care about their opinion. It's because I just don't want to hear their negative judgments for something that I want to do. And I think when society feels like they have to be opinionated about your life in a negative way, it's like, oh my God, like if you were not going to have any compassion, I would have just not said anything at all. My cousin, the other day, she saw me put this post up on social media and I immediately deleted it because I was like, yeah, I don't want to like get in trouble for work for trying to like sell some like drinks. But I had never been to Coachella before. I didn't know what to expect. And I wrote this funny little poster that said, hey, like I'm selling Celsius for $5 and iced coffees for $5 if anybody wants one. And then it said like Narcan sprays for free upon request. I put up a little sign that said like, every $5 purchase gets a free water. Like I was just trying to find ways to make money. And then I thought it was cute that at the bottom it said like better than selling drugs, right? Because, people get fucked up and die at places like that. And I didn't know what to expect. So I was like, hey, like I heard people make a shit ton of money like at places like this. So I made this little sign and packed up some drinks and it ended up being like a barter system. I just gave all that shit away to people that were like fucking tired. And I was like, hey, I have extras. So I just gave it away. Wasn't really the type of environment to be selling it because I was with staff members. I didn't end up being around like people going in, which was kind of more of like, I wanted to sell it to people going in, not the people that like I was working with. Cause I was like, yeah, I'm not going to charge my fucking coworkers. That's crazy. The point of the story is I never hear from my cousin. She called me up and she's like very upset. And my phone was on airplane mode and she called me and she basically, I'm not even going to say what she said. She essentially thought that I was like selling my body and selling drugs at Coachella. She saw that poster and assumed that I guess the backstory is a couple years ago, I was drugged and I was raped. And so there was one very horrific night where I had this very questionable guy in my bed. Don't like to think about it. And she came over to my house and started crying because she thought my life was over. And it was very much not a good look. So when she saw that I wanted to sell $5 Celsius, she, I guess, went into her brain and assumed I was trying to sell my body. And I said like, hey cousin, I'm sorry if you have PTSD from what happened to me several years ago, but no, like I'm fine. I said, I'm not going to Coachella just to sell fucking waters. I'm going there to work and I'm just doing this on the side. I had to clarify that to her. But the reason why I bring her up is I'll call her, I'll text her. She doesn't respond. I hear a lot of feedback from my family that they wish they saw her more. And they get hurt feelings because my cousin doesn't come around to the family that often. So she, like every day or every time we talk, like she doesn't really talk to me. She doesn't really talk to the whole family. But when she thought I was selling my body at Coachella, she called me to tell me like, what the fuck are you doing? I can't hear from you. I think the reason why I'm bringing this up is because we don't know what's inside people's heads. We don't know what people are going through and what their struggles are. And I couldn't really understand, like, hey, why does my cousin ignore me every time I talk to her? But like, why does she seem to care now when she doesn't even know like what's happening? But, people see what they want to see. But that's not always true. Like, I think people see what they want to see, and people maybe sometimes don't ask questions or don't engage. I mean, I'm not really quite sure. I'd like to think that a lot of us have things in common with each other, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if this is a phase that I'm in right now. I don't know if it's, oh, you're not youthful anymore and things used to be different when you were younger. And maybe this is just like what life is like in your 30s. I'd love to talk to some people in their 30s and see if these are like similar things that people are thinking. But I don't want to blame like where society's at or the wars that we're in, because I genuinely think life has always been shitty. And I think like society has been shitty. And I think you can be a better person. You can put yourself around better people, and you can kind of, grind your way out of bad situations. But I think the thing that's been frustrating me lately, and I've been kind of crying out to the universe, is why do I have to grind for good things to happen? Why do I have to slave to have money or a good life? Why can't opportunities come to me? Why can't I get asked out on a date? Why do I have to put in all the work? Like, how come some people like are just offered jobs, or money just falls into their lap, or like good things just happen for them? And I think that's been something that's been frustrating to me, where I'm exhausted and I'm tired. And I wish that blessings and miracles and good opportunities existed naturally without you always having to seek it, force it, chase it. And so I'm like trying this new approach in life where I'm been telling the universe, like, because I kind of feel like I can't pray for myself, but I can pray for other people. And I kind of feel like good things happen to other people when I put that out there for them. But I don't really seem to have that ability to do that for myself, I've noticed. And so I was kind of hysterical watching The Notebook yesterday, first time as an adult. And I turned it off after I was like literally hysterically crying for probably like an hour and a half on the floor with my cat. And I said, like, universe, can I just sit back? Can you just take over for a little bit? Like, can you help me out? Can I have a good day, at work, regardless of me overachieving or overworking? Like, is it possible that I would have a good day regardless of, or I would be given opportunities regardless if I had to overachieve or overwork? Like, can things just happen naturally and organically? I'm trying to see, because I do believe in fate and destiny. I do. But I think I had it wrong. I think fate and destiny is like, okay, well, maybe today you made $50, but maybe tomorrow you'll make $400. And did you need to call your dispatcher every 5 seconds saying, hey, do you have work? Hey, do you have work? Hey, can you get me money? Hey, do you want me to go over like 50 miles away just for like a $20 order? Like, is that what you want? Hey, hey, hey. Or would I have still made $400 just by like chilling, sitting back? Dispatcher knows that I need money. He knows where I'm at. Just chill out and let go and see what happens. I want to see if life can still bless you just by being. Can I just be? Can I just live without the added worries or anxieties or concerns? Are bad things going to happen if I have a negative thought in my head? Are only good things going to happen if I manifest it and pray it and, shove it down my throat as some sort of like whatever? We're going to see. We're going to see how things kind of play out. But I hope you feel brave enough to engage if you want to, say something if you want to. I don't want to force anybody to do things that they don't want to do, but I also want people to know that it is a safe space. And, one thing I have to work on in my personality is I'm kind of like a fix-it personality. So maybe someone would want to rant to me or be vulnerable with me. And in my head, I'm like, well, how do I make this better? How can I make this better for you? How can I, help you thrive? And maybe people just want to be heard. And I can't speak for strangers or society or other families, but I do wish there were more people that were like me in this world. And someone could be like, hey, you're a complete stranger. I'm not having the best day, but, have a good day. Take care. and I would hold space for them. I would want to do that. And I think it's just getting harder for me. I don't want to say that life is going a certain direction. I think medieval times were terrifying. I think the prehistoric ages were terrifying. I think life has always been terrifying. And I think maybe depending on the season or the phase in your life, that there are possibilities where, life's not always going to be peachy, but it doesn't mean that your life is headed in a certain direction if you are having a day or a moment or a period of struggle. I don't think all of our lives are the same. I don't think what always works for one person works for everybody else. And I'm starting to realize more and more that I know nothing. I have answers to nothing. I'm pretty clueless about a lot of things. People tell me I'm very intelligent. And I was like, I might be. But if life doesn't give you opportunities where you get to be intelligent, then like, who's the dummy? If I don't get to learn things or make things better, then who's the dummy here? I gotta let you guys go. I gotta go back to work. Gotta make up some extra hours since it was kind of slow today. Gotta prepare for a large vet bill this weekend. I just want to say thank you for listening, for sticking around. I wanted to just have this episode be as vulnerable as possible and try to be honest and vocal. And I'm not trying to be a part of a trend or say things that I don't know. These are just opinions, and this podcast is meant to be reflections of what you think in your life and to hear things, have it resonate with you, and hopefully create another type of perspective in your life that can give you something to keep going off of. I wish I saw more people being vulnerable. I wish in my life there were more people who were passionate, who cared about things, who didn't feel like they had to just shut their doors and run away because most people that they know of kind of suck. That people don't feel like they can get the help they need. So the answer is, well, I'm just not going to talk to anybody. I'm going to not be a burden on society. And I'm just going to shut my door, and I'm not going to return phone calls, and I'm not going to talk to people. I'm seeing that a lot lately. And I don't have the answer. I don't know if there is an answer. But I know on an individual level, I just want you to know there are people like me in this world, and I care. And I'm not the only person that thinks and feels this way. As much as I'd like to think I'm 1 in 6 billion, I probably, statistically speaking, am not. But there are people that care. There are people that love. There are people that are still passionate. There are people that don't want to give up. And there are people that want to give up so fucking badly, and they're just not allowed to. I'm not saying suicide is a good idea, but I also do know that for some people, I don't know, that's another conversation for another day. I won't get into that, but I think if people don't have quality of life, we shouldn't be telling other people how to live their life. And I think if somebody has a medical condition, or if there's something that somebody is struggling with and someone else can't live your life for them, then you should be able to do whatever you want. I think it's weird in America that you can't kill yourself. I also think it's funny that if you say you want to kill yourself, or people think you want to kill yourself, you'll get put into a room where people kind of torture you or make matters worse. And then, they shove you outside the doors and say, okay, now pay us $30,000. I don't really understand why people say they care about suicide in America, because a lot of times, I don't know, places that say they want to make you feel better are just there to get a paycheck, but there's no nurses or therapists or doctors or anything. It's almost like, we don't want you to kill yourself, because then how will you pay taxes? How will you, do the jobs that people need to do? This was a very strange tangent for someone that had to go. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be late to my job right now if I don't leave right now. And I started ending with suicide. I don't know why I brought that up. That was a very weird thing to bring up. One of these days, I'll do an episode about assisted suicide. I do think it's fascinating that other countries allow it. And then in America, we have to watch our family in chronic pain, struggling with no quality of life because they feel like they are forced to be on this planet. I just like, why is that not talked about more too? Why does everyone think it's so sad when somebody commits suicide when maybe they got to be free? You know, maybe they, I don't know. I don't know how to wrap this up. That's kind of a weird, I think I'm probably a minority of people that would feel that way. I'm not saying everyone should just go out and die. I think nobody asked to be on this earth, and the fact that we are trying to live on this earth for whatever reason and make it work it's a beautiful thing. But I also don't think we should condemn people for leaving this planet because you are not living their life. You cannot live it for them. You are not in their minds. And if somebody needs to go because things aren't getting better, who are you to tell them that they can't do that? I'm alive right now because of my cat, and I love him so much. And I can only hope that time will provide other beautiful reasons to stay alive and healthy. And I have my cat right now, so I'm grateful for that. And I'm putting in the work that I can to improve my life. And sometimes it's just like rough. We're going to get through it somehow. Is that a fact? Who knows? Maybe it's just something nice to say, but I'm here for you. And I wish you nothing but the best of luck on your journey this week, whatever you are doing, going to work, going to see family, breaking up with somebody, taking a chance on somebody, traveling. I hope you're getting to your destination safe, whatever you are doing this week. I'm giving you a big hug. Take care. I'll see you next week.
All right, it's your turn. Let's do this. I know how to love, 'cause in my dreams I was taught by you. I know how to love, 'cause in my dreams I was taught by you. Spend a little time with me, and maybe you will see